Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, don't expect too much. It's a mini episode. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We are going to be talking about the news from the week, including Thursday's Nintendo Direct Mini. And then on Thursday, we are kicking off our retro month with talking about The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. But in the meantime, Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing so good. I'm so happy to be here with you, Patrick, and I'm so happy to be on the other side of a Nintendo Direct.
Oh my gosh, yes, Mini.
Mini.
Also, I wanted to point out, quick and early here, we are not doing a mini episode of this show. This is a full, fat episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society.
It might turn out to be too much.
How do you mean? You mean like in the same way how we're just sometimes too much?
Yes, exactly. So, like, at the end of this episode, people will be crying, just tears streaming down their face, begging for it to be a mini episode of NCS.
That's enough, they'll say. That's enough. Well, you know what else it's probably enough with is my copy of Sonic Forces. The Sonic Forces borrowing program is currently on hiatus because I don't want to go to the post office. I think that's fair. But if you would like to get on the list to eventually someday borrow my copy of Sonic Forces, you can. All you gotta do is email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com. And I'll put you on the list. Give me a mailing address that I can send my copy of Sonic Forces to. You can play it for as long as you want and then send it back. But of course, that's when we exist in another time and space, right?
Right. Exactly. Speaking of things that exist in another time and space, thanks to everyone who has added us as friends on Switch. It's been awesome recently.
Yes. It's been super great. It's been great to like the couple of times that we've done like Open Air Islands on Animal Crossing, but it's also just super cool to see like our friends list alive with people playing games. A lot of people playing Animal Crossing, but you're not all sheep. Some of you are playing other games too. Friend us. Our friend codes are in the episode description of every episode. Yes, and we mentioned this that starting this Thursday we are doing our SNES Classics Retro Month. We are doing A Link to the Past this week. If you have any observations about Link to the Past, your best memories of playing the game, whatever, email them to us by this Wednesday. Which is tomorrow if you're listening to this the day it comes out, which of course you are. And then the subsequent weeks after that, we are doing Super Metroid, Yoshi's Island, and Star Fox in that order. So please play along. It'd be fun to... I'm happy to play these games along with you, Mark. But if our listeners are playing too, it's a more the merrier situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's get into what we've been playing this week. Animal Crossing.
No surprise.
No surprises. Mark, before we started recording, you were asking a question about your commitment to Animal Crossing.
Well, me and friend of the show, June, were talking earlier today, and we were trying to figure out, like, how can we keep Animal Crossing in our lives, but not feel like we have to check in on it every day. So I've been trying to do some research to find out, okay, like if I go every other day to my island, is that enough to keep everybody happy and like I'll be able to keep the weeds pulled and everything? Or does it have to be every day? Because I'm really enjoying the game, but I think for me to like long term be able to commit to it, I'm going to have to find some balance that isn't like trying to check it every single day, if that makes sense.
Right. Also because it is hard to like just check in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like anytime I turn the game on, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna say hi to all my villager friends, and then like, oh yeah, there were like 2 or 3 things I wanted to like check up on, when that are new to the town that day. And then by the time I check on those 2 things, I've also like picked up some shells and I gotta sell those, and it's the store isn't open yet, so like there's always like a million more things to do every time I'm in there. So I get what you're going for, but I'm gonna say that you're a coward and you should play every day.
It's just
Oh,
like it's too much for me. Like the stress of knowing I have to play every day in order to be playing it optimally is too much.
well, yeah. I mean, there's a thing about optimally playing Animal Crossing that I feel like is in direct contrast to how the game is designed. Obviously, everyone play the game how you want to play the game. Like if you're having fun, then like keep doing that. Um, but like the people who are time traveling right now, or who are doing like really serious like resource mining to like just get everything as fast as they can, feels like it's not in the spirit of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But again, play games however you want. Like
Yeah, exactly. I
not
think
gonna
like
police them.
what I want from Animal Crossing is just a really chill time.
Yes.
And so yeah, I guess for me I shouldn't maybe I just need to have the mindset that like yeah, I'm not going to do everything every day, and there are fossils I'm not going to dig up, but I'm not going to like get all the resources from the island every single day. And instead it's just going to be like, yeah, I'm going to check, and I'll talk to my villagers, and if I have time, maybe I'll try to do something more. But if not, yeah, maybe I'll just hold it to that 20 minutes or whatever it takes to do an initial just like check in with everybody.
Well, so here's something that I noticed regarding like time away from the game. I have not had a single day away from it since it came out. But Sarah only played the first day of the game, and I think she played it on like Saturday or Sunday, the weekend it came out. I think it was Sunday, because my villagers started asking about her this Sunday. Like they one of them was like, "Hey, I haven't seen Sarah around in a while. Do you know what she's up to?" And another one asked me if I knew what Sarah's favorite sports were. So like after a week, they know enough to start asking about where you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that's it. I wonder if it takes like a full week of absence before they even care.
Yeah, maybe. That would be nice. That'd be really nice.
That being said, I'm going to absolve myself of any responsibility if your island plunges into darkness.
That's fair. I won't hold you responsible if I go an entire, and I'm not at that point yet. I don't think I'd go an entire week, but it does feel, based on what you're saying, and I'm holding you to this part, it seems like I could go every other day, and it would probably be okay.
I think that would be fine. You'll miss out on opportunities for sure.
Uh-huh.
You'll lose your Nook Miles streak bonus.
I'd be stuck at 50 forever.
Yeah, forever. Okay, Mark, we have a question from listener Lizzie. Lizzie writes, "Hello. Hope all is well. Illinois went on semi-lockdown, kind of like California, so I'm social distancing just like you guys. And just like you guys, I've been filling my time with Animal Crossing. I wanted to know, what is your favorite little detail about the game? There are so many of them. The way the leaves flutter in the wind, or how Tom Nook will read a book or drink a soda instead of watching you while you're in the services tent, etc., etc. My favorite detail is that sometimes a villager will just sit on the ground under a tree. How cute! Have a good one, Lizzie."
I think for me, the thing that I've been appreciating most is kind of like what Lizzie was saying, just like how the villagers have their own seemingly like internal lives.
Yes.
And I love how they'll be like standing in the town square and just like singing a song or swaying back and forth or whatever. That really, like, those little details to me really make it feel so like lived in.
Yes. No, I mean, I was going to mention the singing, that they'll stand in the town square. And the other night I saw Agnes, who is a pig, and Cookie, who is like a pink dog. They were singing a song together, which is adorable. But previously, a couple days before, I saw Cookie, the same dog, hanging out in the town square, and Ozzy, the koala, was singing a song to her. And she just sat there and
That's
like
so
listened to the
cute.
song. It's really, really cute.
I also this is not well, I just really like the little jingle that plays when you go on Dodo Airlines when it has the little
Mm-hmm.
like logo. And there's just like a short little brief jingle. I really like that a lot.
Here's a super basic thing that I love. Every time you just switch items, and your little guy just triumphantly, even though it's like for the 20 millionth time, holds up his stone axe triumphantly. Everything that happens in that game is a little triumph. I love it.
I also just love Timmy and Tommy Nook, and when you go into the store, how their eyes will like follow you around if they are not following you around.
Yeah, that's very cute. We both went. Mark was visiting my island, and we both went into Nook's Cranny. And when there are two players in there, they don't know what to do because normally they both follow the one player around. But when there are two in there, they just sort of stand still and watch you.
I haven't seen it myself because I haven't been in the shop when it happened. But apparently, at 10 o'clock when Nook's Cranny closes for the night, it has like a special like closing down music that plays.
It's adorable.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. Last night I like made a special appointment to come back and play the game at night because I was having a meteor shower on my island.
Ooh.
Which is just super cool. And you do a thing where you wish. So all you do is just tilt the camera up and push the A button with no like item in your hand, and you just do a wish. So like the star flares up and like you kind of like pray for a second, and every time it happened it made me happy.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for, because then the next morning there are like star pieces on the ground all over your island.
Man, that's really neat. I wonder, is it something like if I had been online yesterday, would it have happened for everybody, or is it?
No, I don't think it's universal. I think it's just like randomly people have meteor showers. I should have invited you.
That's really cool. I'll have to look
But
out
also
for
I wanted all the star pieces for myself.
that. Understandable. It's understandable.
Lizzie adds, P.S. Mark, thank you for starting to say at gmail.com with Patrick again. It felt so empty when you didn't.
For us too, Lizzie. For us too.
What else have we been playing?
Well, of course, we've been playing Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, which we'll be talking
Of
about
course.
more on Thursday. So, I've also picked up a bunch of demos this week, and I haven't made my way through all of them yet. But I did play the Disaster Report 4 demo, and this is an endearingly weird, janky game.
Okay, what is it?
So, basically, you are a person and you choose like your character, male or female, and you are in Japan. You're going to a city you've never been to before, and earthquake happens, like a really like bad earthquake, and then you, as far as I can tell in the demo, just kind of like walk around certain areas of the city, and you're like interacting with people in these little vignettes. So in the store, like in the description of the game, it says that the choices you make affect like who lives and who dies. And
Okay.
in the I kind of got stuck in the demo where there was like a part where you're supposed to
There's a part where everyone died.
yeah, there was a part where you're supposed to find like 3 high school students, and I could find 2 of them, but in the area I was in, I for the life of me could not find the third. So I was like, all right, I'm kind of done with this. But it's really interesting. So like, first of all, the game is made with the Unreal Engine, but it is like a desperately low budget game, and initially it's
Oh.
kind of shocking, but it's also endearing in a way. Like you kind of like start to roll with it, and you're like, okay. But I played as a guy, and I'm on a bus, and it's like you get a lot of like dialogue choices. Anytime that, or any, like you get a lot of choices depending on what is happening. So in the beginning, you're sitting on a bus, and it's like, why are you in this city? And it gives you like 15, or maybe that's an exaggeration, maybe like 10 choices of reasons why. And, you know, it's like, I'm here for a job interview. I'm here to meet with friends. I'm just going for a walk, like all this kind of stuff. And then later that comes back. So like an earthquake happens, you get off the bus, You're walking around. There's like these little vignettes. Like there's an old man sitting in a park, and when you talk to him, he's like, "I've been laid off from work for months, but I can't tell my family, so I've just been coming to the park and eating my lunch alone." And then you have like choices of how you like respond to the situation. You're like, "Oh, I feel bad for him and hope that he sees better days ahead. Oh, I think he's weak for lying to his family," and like all that kind of stuff. And um there's another one where like this man had was from a village outside of the city and had saved up all of his money to go to this job interview, and then the earthquake happened, and he's like, even if they reschedule this interview, I don't know that I'm going to have enough money to like make it back to the city. And so there's like interesting vignettes like that, but I don't really understand how it adds up to them like living or dying, and maybe that's part.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. It's unlike any game I've ever played before. It really is kind of like a disaster simulation. Like, what would you do after? Kind of. I don't know. It's really weird.
Yeah. It's also, does it feel weird to be playing that in the current disaster that we're in?
No,
does
not
that not
really. I
even-
mean, so there was a disaster report. So there was a game under development. I guess Disaster Report is a series that has been around for at least since the PlayStation 2 era. And when I was reading about it, it's like, oh, there was a disaster report in development before that like earthquake that hit Japan in 2011, and then it got canceled. But this feels like not really analogous to like anything that's going on right now.
Sure.
Um,
Well, cool.
yeah, that was pretty cool. We picked up Drawful 2, which is from the Jackbox Game guys, and because it's 9 cents on the eShop right now. It's a super fun.
That's no money.
Yeah, it's a super fun like multiplayer game, like multiplayer party game where you connect to the Jackbox servers, and then everybody on their phone or goes to a certain website. You enter a code, then you're all playing. Basically, you get like prompts on your phone that are individual to you, and you are trying to like draw whatever that phrase is. So like mine was like fishing Mother Teresa. And so you are trying to draw that, and then everybody's trying to guess what you drew. So the way that Jackbox Games is set up, it would kind of be perfect for right now, because you could, if I could figure out a way to like stream what's happening on my TV, so maybe I just set up like an iPad and then like FaceTime with people or something. We would all be able to play this game together, which would be super fun.
Yeah, look, even though we are a video game podcast, we do not do any streaming.
Well, it's also hard. It's hard on the Switch
Yeah.
because like the PlayStation 4 has Twitch streaming built into it.
Built
You just
into
like
it,
click
yeah.
a button. Switch is not set up for that at all. But anyways, Drawful 2.
Switch can't even do Mixer.
And then, okay, finally, last thing that I played. I've wanted to play this for a while. It's Gone Home. It's been available on platforms since 2013. Is on the Switch. I haven't played it on anything. It's like $15 on Switch normally. It was on sale a couple of weeks ago for maybe 10. So I picked it up. It is very cool. It's by people who developed the Minerva's Den DLC for BioShock 2, and then they like
Coming soon
started
to Nintendo Switch.
Yes, exactly. And then they spun off their own company. And so basically you play as like a college student who's coming home in, I think, 1996 after you've been in Europe, and then to a home that like your family just moved into not that long ago while you were away. And everybody is in the home is missing. Like your parents aren't there, your sister isn't there. And so there's no combat or anything. You're just going from like room to room, picking up items and kind of exploring the house to piece together what happened. And it's really interesting. It's really good. It definitely didn't go where I thought it was going to go necessarily, but I felt it took me maybe an hour and a half max to play it, and it felt
And
satisfying.
you finished it?
Yeah. It's really short. It's like I said, like I played it an hour and a half, going in cold, not like looking at a guide or anything. So I think it's worth buying it on sale and checking it out. It's probably also very cheap on like other platforms at this point.
Did you pick it up on sale on Switch?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't have really anything new to report. I've continued to play Murder by Numbers, which is just more Murder by Numbers. At this point, I'm excited just to play all of Scout's Memories, which are just back to back puzzles. Not that I dislike the story elements. I like the story elements quite a bit, but sometimes you just want some puzzles, baby.
Totally.
All right, so that's what we've been playing this week. Let's get to the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
Today, March 31st, Bubble Bobble 4 Friends is released for the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. Look, I'm excited about this one. I've been excited about this one since it was announced as a possible game coming to Japan. I'm maybe a little bit less excited about it now, knowing that I'm never going to have 4 friends in the room together. Although times will change, things will go back to normal at some point. But I badly want to play a new Bubble Bobble game.
Yeah, who would have ever thought? And sure, right now it'll be Bubble Bobble 2 Friends, but
at most, if I can convince Sarah to play.
But yeah, kind of like cool that this game exists. Also on Friday, the Coral Color Nintendo Switch Lite is released in the US.
Which is a pretty cool, good-looking Nintendo Switch Lite. When do you think we will see the next color Nintendo Switch Lite?
Man,
if you had to guess.
Yeah, the fall. I would guess the fall, and that's only based on some of the rumors we're going to be talking about a little bit later. So try to remind me if I forget when we get there.
Yeah, I will. Otherwise, there's just kind of a lot of just like kind of garbagey stuff. I guess there was a fair amount of stuff that was both announced and revealed last week in the direct, but we'll get to that in a second. In fact, in the interest of expediency, let's close out this segment. Now it's time for a regular segment on the show. It's time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance of 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, today we are going to be talking about what we've been reading.
Yeah, I feel like one positive side effect of everything that's going on right now is I've just had more time to read than I have in the past. And so I've been like enjoying just like diving through books in the way I used to when I was a kid, like on summer break.
That's very exciting. I have not found while I do have more time, my focus is just shot. So like I have not been very good about reading or really doing much of anything besides Animal Crossing for long stretches of time. Like I'll go on long walks. I guess I'm exercising more than I was before. But for me, reading has been a little bit difficult.
Yes. So I can tell you what I've been reading.
Please do.
So
sorry, that's what I meant that
to be. So I finished reading Dead Wake, which I should look up the author's name because I'm forgetting it right now. But basically, it's by the guy who wrote Devil in the White City.
Oh yeah, sure.
Eric Larson, and so this is about the sinking of the Lusitania, which I knew about from history class and just like kind of learning about World War I and the American ties to World War I. But one of the things I really like about Eric Larson's books, the other ones that I've read, is that he does a really good job of taking the historical record but making it very interesting. Like he makes everything almost like a mystery a little bit, like the same way that that a thriller would be written. And so I really, really liked this a lot. And the nautical part of it got me really in the mood to read another one. So now I've been reading Endurance, which is all about, it was written in the 50s, and it's like an account of what happened on the Shackleton expedition. also around World War I era. But basically, it was like a group of British explorers who were trying to cross Antarctica, like the continent.
Yeah.
But they get stranded. Their ship gets stranded in the ice, and then it's about basically like their 2-year ordeal to make it out of Antarctica.
And do they have to battle Frankenstein to get out
And
of
they
Antarctica?
have to battle Frankenstein. Yeah. So I haven't gotten to that part yet, but I know it's building, because why else would you write this book?
Yeah. Why else would you strand people in Antarctica unless they were obviously going to encounter Frankenstein? And yes, I know it's Frankenstein's monster. What? Sorry. So what was the name of this? The second book, not.
Oh,
Dead
the
Wake,
second
but
book is Endurance.
Endurance. Yeah. Cool. They both sound good. I guess the only thing that I have been reading is that I am catching up on X-Men comics. I had read the Jonathan Hickman House of X and Powers of 10 miniseries that came out over the summer, and liked them a lot. But just like they were such like a unified like message about like how X-Men are going to work going forward, and I didn't really know like where I what threads I wanted to follow when like the main series actually launched. But then when I was at remember I went to Chicago a couple weeks ago, went to C2E2, like the last comic book convention ever. And I went to an X-Men panel and like saw the writers and artists like kind of talking about both what they were doing now and what they had like in store. So I've like got excited about X-Men from that, and so I've been reading the main X-Men series, which is still written by Hickman. It's awesome. It's super episodic. Oh, I guess we'll never know the rest. I'm also reading Marauders and X-Force and Excalibur, and they're all great.
But beyond that, we'll never know.
But beyond that, we'll never know. We were accompanied today by pianist Armin Fuchs. All right, Mark, let's get into the news.
Hey, there was a Nintendo Direct Mini last Thursday.
Yep, sure was.
It
would have look. We thought there was going to be a Direct, right? We had even sort of built our plan for last week around the fact that there was going to be, or that there probably was going to be a Nintendo Direct. And then it got too close. Like it was Wednesday, and we were like, "Well, it doesn't look like there's going to be a Direct. We'll do this vacation thing," which was fun, and I'm really happy we did it because it was a good time. But then here comes the Direct.
Well, yes, yeah, exactly. And it turned out to be a mini Direct, which I think the last time that they, had something like this where they dropped it without any announcement was back in January of 2018, where they did another mini Direct, and it was the one where Dark Souls Remastered was announced for Switch. And
Sure.
like in the lead up to that one, the internet kind of got crazy, and Nintendo of America just tweeted apropos of nothing. Well, actually, I guess it was very on point, but like the Chibi Robobot, and he was on fire.
Yeah, he's holding his like claws up to the sky.
And so yeah, like there was a lot of fervor on the internet again, in the lead up to this, and but there we go. We have our first direct of the year, albeit a mini Direct, but a Direct nonetheless.
Let's talk about that suffix mini, because the Direct that you were referring to from January 2018 was 14 minutes and 22 seconds long. This one was almost a full half hour. It's like 28 minutes and change. So mini, I don't think is necessarily referring to the length of the presentation, but perhaps to like the kind of megaton wattage of the announcements. That like nothing here really blew the doors off anything, and I don't think they were attempting to do that, right?
Totally. Like I think it has the mini designation because there were no new Nintendo first party reveals. I think that's like the one, because you're right, like length didn't have anything to do with it. I think that's purely the designation. And I think the fact that it is March, it was like kind of the end of March, and we had a Nintendo Direct Mini, and we still don't really know anything about the rest of Nintendo's like
Yes.
year, or like what their like first party titles outside of Xenoblade Chronicles like remastered. I think that it is safe at this point to temper our expectations of what 2020 is going to look like for Nintendo.
I think that's probably right. So one of the other things that this presentation had that not all Nintendo Directs have had is this disclaimer that pops up at the beginning, and kind of acknowledging like, hey, we're all going through this COVID-19 thing. Please note that release dates and other information presented in this video are subject to change. So I think even in like I don't know that in like the best of times we would have had exactly this presentation, or at this point in the year would be like ready to write off Nintendo's 2020. But I think that is part of an evolving situation that we're all experiencing right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair, but I also think that like leading up to this point, I don't know what you want to call it, like the insiders or people who were talking about Nintendo's 2020 were like already saying that it was going to be kind of port heavy and not to, that there were still like good games coming. And that obviously, I think Nintendo's going to have at least one big holiday title that we haven't seen yet. They're probably going to have something in September. Like, I think there's going to be stuff coming out. You know what? I think that 2017 kind of spoiled us in a big way.
Totally.
Because even in the best of times up to 2017, like Nintendo as a first party developer was never like never had that kind of output.
Yeah, I mean 2017, I mean just to refresh memories, is Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8, Splatoon 2, and ARMS. Like, it's huge. Like, those are... Oh, and I guess Xenoblade Chronicles 2 as well. That all came out in 2017. And, like, we'll probably never see a year like that from Nintendo ever again.
Yeah, and I think, like, we've all kind of been, I mean, at least I have in the back of my mind, like, been anticipating another year like 2017. We were like, okay, all these teams have been lying low for a few years, potentially, like, so of course we're going to get another, like, double-barreled year like that. And it's, like, it's just totally not realistic.
It's also a little strange when, like, last year we got Link's Awakening, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Luigi's Mansion, a Pokemon game. What other amazing games came out last year? Fire Emblem. Like, last year was not like, it seems like maybe it was a slow year, but also like I just listed like 5 amazing games. So, I think there are still many surprises, and the Direct also said that they were focusing on games that were coming out in the earlier part of this year. We didn't get dates for anything past like June, I don't think. So like, there's more here that we're not seeing. This is a mini Direct in terms of what they're announcing, which means there's more to announce at some point.
Yeah, and we will after we talk about the Direct, we'll get into some rumors that broke yesterday about what could be coming for the rest of Nintendo's year. But yeah, for right now, let's talk about what was in the mini presentation. Starting with Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which has a release date, and I think this is the latest release date we have for sure, which is May 29th.
I could have sworn that we had a June one that was locked down somewhere in here, but sure. June, Mr. Driller Drill Land is out June 25th.
Oh, well, there you go.
Date we have. But Xenoblade Chronicles, we got like a full trailer for it, and a release date, which, as you said, is May 29th.
They revealed Xenoblade Chronicles Future Connected, which is a new epilogue a new story that will cap off the main game that'll be exclusive to this definitive edition. And they also showed off a Xenoblade Chronicles definitive work set, which includes a 250-page art book.
Does it feel weird to you that there is a definitive works set that does not include like the other games, like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and the oh boy, I don't remember the Torah, the Golden Country, like that there are
Torna,
other
I think.
games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That they're just like, yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles, the first one, the definitive works.
Well, I mean, I guess it's like Final Fantasy, right? Where each one is its own distinct thing.
Yeah,
so you wouldn't like necessarily lump it together. I don't know. I don't really have any strong feelings about this game. I feel like there were a lot of trailers in the mini direct that have this same sort of vibe, which is like both my favorite and least favorite type of trailers for these JRPGs, where it's like a lot of random voiceover dialogue with some story points that I have like no idea what's going on. It seems to work for him. It always just seems a little weird to me.
Yeah, it was strange how many times the trailer announced that Shulk could see the future. Shulk can see the future. Did you know that Shulk can see the future? Shulk, I didn't know you could do this. Do what? See the future.
I know it's a game that has a great reputation. So for that reason, I'm interested in like picking it up. But yeah, that is pretty much all we know of Nintendo's 2020 right now, is that Xenoblade Chronicles is coming out. Then next we saw the 2K series that are coming to Nintendo Switch. We're getting the BioShock Collection, which includes BioShock, BioShock 2, and BioShock Infinite. The Borderlands Collection, which includes Borderlands, Borderlands 2, and Borderlands the pre-sequel. And then the XCOM 2 Collection will all be released on May 29th.
Which is the same date as Xenoblade Chronicles. So that is a big day, a big release day for the Nintendo Switch. Why do you think 2K is dropping all these games on the same day?
I don't know. I think they've all been released on like other platforms before, and I think they have pretty like distinct audiences. So I don't really know that it's doing any harm. Like I don't know that the people who are gonna necessarily buy XCOM 2 are also super interested in a loot shooter like Borderlands. I know for me personally, I think I'm gonna pick up the BioShock collection. It'll be another one of those collections that I buy and probably never actually play, but I just like the idea of having it. Borderlands, the Borderlands games, I have this same collection, but on the PS4 already. And XCOM 2, I don't know enough about to form an opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like all of these games are just a little like BioShock is. I played the original and some of Infinite, and like I don't know that they're games that I necessarily want to come back to. I'm not really a like first person gun combat kind of guy, and I know that it's like reductive to call the original BioShock a first person shooter, but it's just not my like. It's not like the language I like to speak with games, So I will probably end up passing on all of these, unless like the fervor around XCOM 2 is because like I have been a very like tactics centric game player for the last couple of years. Like all of the Fire Emblems have been exciting to me. I'm still slowly working my way through the Advance Wars games on GBA on my Wii U. So I may go back into XCOM and actually see what that's about.
Next, we saw a little bit more about the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 DLC pack, the final one, Shadow of Doom, which is out now. It's started with like a trailer showing off the Fantastic Four in action and even those costumes we were talking about last week.
Yep. I mean, the thing is, it looks and sounds great. Like this is sort of for me the contrast to the Xenoblade trailer and the Bravely Default trailer, where like the voice clips, like where the acting sounds like super hammy or whatever, like all of the Fantastic Four like sounded good and like Doom sounded cool. Like now I wish I had this game, or I wish you could come over and we could play it.
Yeah, someday we definitely will have to make our way through it. They then showed off Shinseki Into the Depths, which is from Capcom. It was available now, so made available right after the direct last Thursday. It's like a 2D underwater Metroidvania game. I think it's been part of the Apple Arcade previously, but this is possibly the first time it's showing up on consoles. Looked kind of cool.
Yeah, it does look neat. Yeah, this is one that especially with that like available now, where I'm like, ooh, maybe this is something I want to check out. They touted some like extra features for it, like a time attack mode and a jukebox feature that lets you like remix the music. Although then saying by altering filters, and it's like, okay, well that's how much am I really altering it then? But still, it seems like they're doing what they need to do to kind of make the game a feature complete like console or like at least handheld experience.
Then they talked about the new free update for Animal Crossing New Horizons. And with the new update, you'll be able to access Bunny Day, which is happening April 1st through 12th. You'll be able to be visited by Zipper T Bunny, and eggs will be hidden everywhere. And you can go on kind of like a egg scavenger hunt, digging up Easter eggs. And then there will be limited time craftable items.
Mark, are you, as someone who has spent more time in Animal Crossing than I have, are you excited for Bunny Day? Are you excited for a holiday?
I don't think I've ever. I am excited for a holiday. It's fun when those events are happening. I don't know that I've actually ever played an Animal Crossing game for Bunny Day, like during the spring. They also talked about that later in April, Earth Day is going to be celebrated. So it'll be interesting to see what they do for that one.
I'm already more excited for Earth Day than I am for Bunny Day. Zipper T Bunny looks like a monster. I'm convinced that he is not, in fact, like a rabbit, but a man in a rabbit costume.
Yeah, we at this point we have no proof. Yeah, it totally makes proof. Next we got another one of those kind of what I used to think were like strange one-off games that Nintendo would publish for the eShop, but now just seems to be a regular occurrence. It's called Good Job, published by Nintendo, developed by Paladin Games. Again, it was released on Thursday. It's a physics-based, over-the-head like puzzle adventure game. You work as a handyman in an office, and like the physics are really loose. So there's different ways that you can like accomplish tasks, and some of them, if you're really careful, they don't cause any damage. If you're not careful, they cause like a ton of damage.
Yeah.
It looks fun. It looks like good silliness.
It does look like good silliness. It looked like the like kind of physics engine and just like the chaos that ensues almost gives me vibes of like a single player Overcooked almost, where like you're just going to find yourself and it just like maybe screaming at the systems of the game instead of screaming at your partner as you do in Overcooked. But yeah, this game looks interesting and is one that I am definitely interested in picking up.
Well, so like there was this one a while back. There was that, was it called Stretchers, like the paramedics game that again was kind of like physics based. That one was co-op. I think it's just really interesting to see Nintendo publish these smaller like indie titles that, I mean, I guess they're not indie, but just from like smaller third-party developers that Nintendo is publishing them, and I wonder if they're finding enough of an audience to make it worthwhile for them to continue to do this, because it's always so like unceremonious.
Yeah, well, I mean, they must be finding like some kind of audience, but I think some of it is just that like, Nintendo obviously is a big developer. They develop a lot of games, but they need to kind of keep up this flow of new software, new and interesting software. So like they're as much like a curator of content as they are a developer of it. So it's cool that they are elevating all kinds of things like this.
Next up was the reveal of Catherine Full Body from Atlas coming on July 7th. So there you go. That is probably the
There's
latest
the latest
release
one.
date that we have. We had seen this rated, I think, from the Korean software board a few weeks ago, but interesting to see it confirmed here. Next, they showed off a free update.
Sorry. I want to stay on Catherine for just a
yeah,
second.
yeah.
So this is one where it doesn't look like it's getting any additional features from the PlayStation 4 version that was released a couple months ago. But I don't care. Like this is how I would want to play Catherine is on a handheld. So that's it's definitely a game that I'm going to pick up.
Next, we saw the free update for Ring Fit Adventure. Man, I'm wishing I would have bought Ring Fit Adventure when I had the chance.
So let's talk about what the update is, and then let's talk about what the problem is with it.
Okay. So the free update includes a rhythm game mode, which has 17 tracks, including tracks from Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2, Breath of the Wild, and Wii Fit. There's a ring. Your Ring companion has the option for a female voice now and more language options as well. There's a jogging option for adventure and quick play game modes. It seems like it lets you like skip battles and more just do just like areas
like do
of
the
the
jogging
game.
part of it.
Yeah. And
which is cool. It's cool that they are continuing to support Ring Fit Adventure, including with a new, like the rhythm mode seems awesome. Seems like if they were just selling that as like, if they were like, this is a rhythm game and you play it with the Ring Fit Adventure controller, I would be excited to just, I would be excited about the game all on its own. But Ring Fit Adventure, as we talked about a couple weeks ago, is sold out everywhere. And I was looking to see like what the secondary market was for it over the weekend or at the end of last week, and it was people were selling it for in something in the neighborhood of like $270. And as of like 12:30 today, Monday, the going rate on Amazon was $319.99, so $320, which is this is maybe just a symptom of like two things intersecting at once, the normal like Nintendo scarcity problem, and the like world scarcity problem of like anything that's even remotely in demand right now is hard to come by. But man, they're intersecting in a way that just means that we're never going to play this thing.
Yeah. But for the people who like already picked it up and didn't sleep on Ring Fit Adventure, it is like a really cool free update.
Yeah, totally. Also, just a word of warning to anyone who is thinking about picking up a Ring Fit Adventure from like a third-party seller. There are some like weird kind of scammy things out there on like eBay, where people are selling, they're saying it's the game, but it's really like a third-party version of the controller that doesn't have the software. So it's normal Nintendo limited supply rules apply here. If a deal seems like it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Next, they showed off King's Bounty 2 with, quote, a fresh look and a new approach.
What do you know about King's Bounty 2?
Nothing. I have already forgotten what this is.
So it looked like a medieval like tactics role-playing adventure game.
Oh, was it like the Skyrim looking thing? Kind of just like medieval
Skyrim,
setting. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I had already forgotten. I knew nothing about it before and I know nothing about it now.
It's the way that they were talking about it, they're like with a new, more realistic art style, and a new character development system where it's like I don't know anything. I don't know anything about this game.
Yeah.
How much has it changed?
Yeah, but presumably exciting for people who are familiar with King's Bounty 2. We also then we got kind of like a an interesting announcement, an interesting like half announcement.
Yeah.
They showed off that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Challenger Pack 6, which is the first DLC character in the new Fighters Pack. It will be an ARMS character. And that is as
Yes.
far as we got. They showed
Yeah.
all of the ARMS characters, and
Every single one.
and then we're just leaving this here. We'll talk about this more later.
Right. And the character will be released in June. And I think sort of the understanding is that it will be revealed and released at the same time. So the Mark, do you have any preferences from the ARMS lineup? Let's start to speculate here. Let's start to let's get some wheels spinning here.
Patrick,
like, who should it
that
be?
would require me to remember any of the ARMS characters other than like Ribbon Girl and Spring Boy.
No, Spring Man. So Spring Man is already an assist trophy, so I'm going to assume that he's out. There was language in the direct saying that this fighter's arms can extend. So technically, that rules out Twintel, who fights with her hair and not her arms, and Mechanica, who fights in a mechanical suit because her arms don't actually stretch. But I guess technically everyone else is fair game. So it could be that mummy guy. It could be Ninjara. It could be Min Min.
Like the goo thing.
Yep, could be the goo thing. It could be Max Brass. It could be the bad guy, right? It could be anyone. But also, I think that the thing about the fighter's arms can extend. They were making a lot of we're extending the deadline on this. So I don't think we need to take that literally. I think it should and could and will be Twintel. She's a star, baby.
I think it's going to be one of those like Koopa Kid situations where it ends up being maybe all of them. They have the same move set, but they just have like different skins. Maybe.
I hope they do not do that. I hope that they like pick one and commit to it and make it specific to that character, just because like the goo guy is so different. And both like Max Brass and the Mummy are also very like they're heavy characters. Like they play differently enough in ARMS that I think they should also play differently in Smash. But we'll see in June, I guess.
Yeah, not that far away. Also, ARMS is getting a free game trial for Nintendo Switch Online subscribers. It started on March 26th and runs through April 6th. So this is something that we've seen them do in Japan more recently. But this is the first time I think that it's happening in the US where you have full access to the game. It's not a test punch. It is like feature complete. If you have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription, you can just play the game.
Which is pretty cool, and ARMS is fun. Like, ARMS is definitely a game that is worth checking out. It's a hard game to recommend, because like I liked it, but should I have purchased it? Probably not. But like, should you try playing it for free? Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Then we saw Bravely Default 2 with a demo is available now. So Patrick, I downloaded this demo but didn't have a chance to play it. How about you?
So I did download the demo. I played through a very little bit of it and then decided I don't think this is for me at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there was a trailer in the Direct too. And it kind of lays out some of the same things that you'll see in the demo. But it's a very classic like Square RPG setup of there are 4 crystals, they represent the different elements, and there are 4 heroes, and they are working together to do something with the crystals. And the like the presentation of this game is just very strange. The backgrounds are all like really painterly and cool. Like everything, all of the backgrounds look very neat, and they look like they are out of a storybook almost. And then that is juxtaposed with these borderline low poly character models that are running through it, and it's got like the same level of like dissonance as like Final Fantasy VII when you're looking at like the pre-rendered backgrounds and your like low poly characters running through them, where it's just like they do not appear to be of the same world. Um, so like there's that, and then there's like all of the acting is like super hammy. One of these characters whose name is Elvis has like a thick Scottish accent, and it just like doesn't make any like the character doesn't look Scottish. He doesn't like nothing. I don't know. Nothing in the demo felt like real or interesting to me. And then I got into battle, and was like, oh, this, the it's such a it's just like a standard turn-based system, but then also with this like kind of gambling, like risking spending your BP points to take extra actions, and it just I don't know, like nothing about it grabbed me, and I like it just this was a really bad first impression for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but even aesthetically, the game makes me appreciate how much like the look of Octopath Traveler really worked for that game.
Yes.
And I can appreciate them not wanting to do that for like the Bravely Default series as well, and kind of have it be that is like Octopath's look. And when we eventually see a direct sequel to Octopath Traveler or any type of like sequel in that world, um, that it'll probably have that same sort of aesthetic. But this one looks cheap to me. Like, and
Yeah.
Octopath Traveler was able to hide a lot of that in like its presentation. Whereas when you're using these like little 3D chibi characters, like it's hard for me to not see the Final Fantasy 15 mobile characters when I
Totally.
like look at this. I am hopeful because I did like Octopath Traveler so much, and I think it's interesting. You know, they're doing the same thing they did with Octopath Traveler. They released a demo. They're going to take feedback from that demo and make changes to the final game. But yeah, I'm still interested to play the demo. How did you play through like to the end of the demo? Like, is there a
No.
definitive end, or
No.
were you just like after a while you're just like I've seen enough?
So I played like really a very little bit of it. You know, I normally will kind of like tough these things out and like really try to get to the end of a demo. But like you know, I died in like the fourth or fifth battle and was just like, all right, I don't need to experience this anymore. Um, so I mean, it's not a good sign when after 25 minutes I'm like, ugh, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, but I'll be interested to hear what your experience of it is, or any of our listeners, if you played it and are really enjoying it. You know, shoot us an email, let us know.
We got like a kind of weird, unexpected, I will say, Nintendo first party title, which is Clubhouse Games. It's 51 games that some apparently have online multiplayer, but they're games that you've like heard of, right? Like chess, checkers, backgammon, the tanks game that looks like it's pretty much from Nintendo Land. Like just
Yeah.
like a real grab bag of multiplayer games coming out on June 5th.
It is the We Play of 2020, I think is what it is.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it.
Except the problem is it doesn't come with a free Wii remote like we played it.
I guess like another one that you know, if it had been released in like February or something, now we might all be happy that it exists. But
Totally.
yeah, just kind of like a weird one to spend so much time on. Next we
Yes.
got to look at Ninjala, which was the free to play like ninja Splatoon ripoff like game that comes out on May 27th.
Yeah, Mark, you and I saw this briefly at E3 this year. They had like a big booth at the front of like the hall that Nintendo was in. Um, and yeah, it just like I can't see it without it just looks like Splatoon to me. Which Splatoon is
Yeah.
fun. but
Mhm.
like I'll just play Splatoon.
Yeah. And the mechanics are obviously different. You're like ninjas instead of trying to ink a bunch of area. But just like aesthetically, it looks so much like
Yeah.
just like do you remember when we were younger and there would be like the Disney version of the Hunchback of Notre Dame, then you would be with your mom at the grocery store and they would have like videos in the checkout aisle and it would
Yes.
be, like Family Home Entertainment presents like that is what Ninjala seems to me. God bless the developers though. Next, we got a little bit of Star Wars news. Star Wars Jedi Knight,
Star
Jedi
Wars!
Academy, which was the first game, is available now. The second game had been released a couple of months ago, maybe last September at this point. And then also we got an announcement that Star Wars Episode 1 Racer is going to be coming soon to Switch. And this honestly was probably my reveal of the game just because you and I had played it not that long ago. And it made me I was surprised at how much I liked it when we played it together. And I am excited for it to be coming to Switch.
So, point of order, when we played Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, we were actually playing Star Wars Racer Revenge, which is the sequel or like the souped up version of the original Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. So, it's a slightly different game.
Oh.
But look, we are not going to suffer from having too many pod racing games on our current generation hardware. So, like, bring it on. Bring on Episode 1 Racer.
As long as I can annoy my husband by constantly saying, now this is pod racing.
Yippee!
It'll be great because he's never seen The Phantom Menace, so he has no idea what I'm talking about.
You're a saint, Mark.
Next, we saw the Panzer Dragoon remake. It's a Time console exclusive that's available now on Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't really have too much to say about that, but I am interested because it does look like a Star Fox game, but on a dragon.
Yeah, that's true. It does. Next, it was Sizzle Reel time. We got Trials of Mana, which is out April 24th. Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
And
I downloaded the demo
demo
for that as well. Yeah.
I did too, but I have not played it.
Same.
Fuser, which is some kind of DJ game coming fall 2020. The Elder Scrolls Blades, which is another game we saw at E3 that was supposed to be released, I think, last fall, but has been delayed, is now tentatively scheduled for spring 2020. Warhammer 40k Mechanicus, May 2020. Vigor, which has a closed beta, April 9th. I have already forgotten what this is.
It's some kind of violent, shooty, tactical. This is one where I was like, I don't want that on my I don't want that on my Switch.
Followed by Burnout Paradise Remastered, which is coming sometime this year. EA slowly trickling out a couple of remasters here and there.
But Burnout Paradise Remastered is a game that's held in pretty high regard by fans of the genre. So it's cool to see this one like snuck into the sizzle reel at the end here.
Yeah, so this is actually the only Burnout game I've ever played. In the PS3 era, me and my friend we spent just hours driving around. I think it might actually have been called Paradise City. So
Where the grass is green and the girls are pretty.
I remember it being very, very fun. This one piques my interest because I have a lot of fond memories of this game. Then, part of the sizzle reel was Saints Row 4 Reelected, which we talked about. It came out last week. The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel 3, coming out on June 30th. There's also a demo for this, which I've downloaded but have not played. Mr. Driller Drillland comes out June 25th. And then Minecraft Dungeons, which is coming out in spring.
So a pretty good sizzle reel.
And then
or a pretty okay sizzle reel, I guess.
yeah. And then finally at the end, a little bit more of the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass. Not much new here. Your Cub Fu evolves differently based on which trial tower you take on. And then Evolve starters get Gigantamax forms, which, again, still not sure I understand. but you get those as a reward for playing the Isle of Armor, which the Isle of Armor is the first expansion and is scheduled to be released by the end of June.
So that is the entirety of the Nintendo Direct Mini. Mark, what's your is there like an announcement on here that is like big and exciting? Like what is the big exciting announcement here for you?
Yeah, for me it really is Star
there
Wars
one?
Racer.
Yeah, I mean there's not a lot of like meat on the bone here. I don't, you know what I mean? Like everything seems like a pretty soft announcement. Not that I'm like upset about it, but like, you know, this could have been a series of tweets, and I would have been, you know, I feel like it would have been the same experience for me.
So I think if this was a Nintendo Direct Mini that we were getting after we had like a traditional Nintendo Direct in like January or
Yeah.
something, where we were getting those Nintendo first party announcements that get our blood pumping, like this was a perfectly respectable mini. Um, I think it's just let down a little bit by like the weight of expectations.
Yeah, totally.
But so that wraps up the mini. Again, we didn't hear anything about Nintendo first party, but there have been some other rumors that are maybe giving us a little bit of insight into what we can expect this year. To yesterday, several sites, Jamatsu, Eurogamer, VGC, all reported rumblings of Nintendo remastering and re-releasing multiple Mario games for Switch in celebration of the 35th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers release, which is 2020.
Yes. So I believe by this point, basically everyone is reporting on these rumors, but as rumors. Like, I don't know that anyone has come out saying like these are for sure happening. Obviously, Nintendo's not confirming anything. But VGC specifically called out Super Mario Galaxy and suggested that a couple other 3D Mario favorites would also be in the running here for like remastering or re-releasing.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I was
ahead.
just gonna say that, you know, like one of the sites, and I forget which one it was, basically said like what they had heard is that Nintendo was working on a Mario All Stars 2 esque type of thing where it would have Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and the two Galaxy games. It's unclear if that means that they are intending to release that as one package, or if, you know, they're going to release each one as a separate release. And like, what does remastered mean? Like, how do the analog sticks from the GameCube controller work on Switch? Like, I have a lot of questions. This is really exciting to me, but I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, and how does the trigger work for Mario Sunshine? Because there was an analog trigger, which obviously the Switch doesn't have. Um, But yeah, I mean, all of this to me feels like the kind of thing. I mean, remember how Nintendo celebrated the like 25th anniversary was like just re-releasing the original Mario All Stars on a Wii disc. Like I'm sure they're hearing about something, and I'm sure something is going to come out. But like, I don't know. I think we are all setting ourselves up for some epic disappointment if we think there's going to be a Mario All Stars 2 that includes like three full-fledged 3D Mario games like fully remade in HD and widescreen. Like that sounds great. It sounds great. I don't think it's real.
I think it's possible that they could be releasing them as like distinct releases and that they're all just like coming out in celebration of Mario's anniversary. Um I guess the thing for me that, let's say this is true, is
Mhm.
it's like you know, when you get into an artist and or a musician or a band and you're like, great, I'm going to like add their entire discography to, you know,
Yes.
Spotify, and it's like too much good stuff. Like this would almost be like too much good Mario.
Yeah, if those 4 Mario games came out in a collection tomorrow, what would you do? Would you play like just a little bit of each of them? Would you try to do them in like release order? Like what would you even play? It's overwhelming.
It is. I mean, I hope it's a problem we have later this year. I hope we have to have these discussions. Also, as part of these rumors is that Super Mario 3D World would also be getting like a deluxe release on Switch, which makes a ton of sense. It's
Yeah.
kind of the big outlier of Wii U games that has not made it to Switch yet.
Yeah, and that is a another like dream come true kind of announcement for me, but one that actually seems possible and like in line with what Nintendo has been doing with their first party Wii U releases, eventually bringing them over to Switch. It is weird that this one has been left out for so long.
It'll also be interesting to see like if it is a deluxe release, what they add to like or what they change to give it that
Hmm.
moniker. Like, are there going to be new levels, new like worlds? Like, what form will that take? New characters?
Uh, Toadette and Nabbit.
um, and then also, VentureBeat's Jeff Grubb, who reported on the existence of last week's Nintendo Direct before like we knew about it, and took a beating from the internet on like Wednesday when nothing had been announced, and he was like, "I'm never doing this again," and I don't blame you. He reported that he also mentioned that a Paper Mario game is in development, which quote represents a return to the franchise's roots.
Oh, okay. So this is another one of those like Paper Mario fans like just want to see the game return to the GameCube era. And would that be great? Of course it'd be great. Of course we all want to see that. But like, is that what Paper Mario even is anymore? This one feels like a very wish fulfillment-y kind of thing to me. Um, Again, could be real, but it just it feels like someone saying like, "Oh yeah, and they're bringing back the team of Super Metroid to like make it, or like a Mother 3, like any of these like kind of things where it's just like these are all our dreams come true, and dreams don't come true that often."
So I'm less skeptical than you. I guess I'm willing to wish harder. And yes, like if it doesn't end up happening, it will hurt more as well. So this this
Hmm.
this isn't the first that I've been seeing of like these reports. People have been talking about for months now that there's a new Paper Mario game coming this year that like says the same thing that Grubb said here, where it is kind of like returning to the series roots. That being said,
Mm.
who knows what the genesis of all of this is, right? Like, is it one person and everybody's just hearing it from the same person? Like, it's impossible to know. Do we all, remember Star Fox Grand Prix? So,
Yeah,
like it's just
man.
right. Like, and I think it's all with like good intentions, like nobody, right? But it's just really difficult to know exactly where all this is coming from. That being said, it all makes a ton of sense to me, except maybe how did Intelligent Systems make Fire Emblem Three Houses and also make a new Paper Mario game? But stranger things have
I mean,
happened.
if they're even the company doing it, like what if uh oh, what is the name of the company that was doing the Mario and Luigi
Oh, Alpha Dream?
games?
Well, they're bankrupt.
Yeah.
So
Well, sure, but being bankrupt never stopped anyone from doing business.
I mean, I think they are gone. But point taken, it doesn't have to be Intelligent Systems.
Right.
And finally, Netflix has announced that they are Castlevania. Finally, as in like, finally, this is the last item that we're going to be talking about. Not like, wow, Netflix, we were really all tapping our watches waiting for this to happen. Netflix has announced that their Castlevania animated series is coming back for a 4th season sometime in the future, which means, of course, you can look forward
Mhm.
to our friend Colin J. Morris, his return at some point in the future.
And we'll each watch a third of the season, I promise.
At most.
At most. Well, a third plus one episode.
Yeah,
is what we all did this last time.
Oh my gosh, what if this is like a 14 episode season or something like that? Something just really cruel.
I feel like then we need to get we need to bring in more people. I'm not gonna. It was very fun to only watch 3 episodes of the series and then explain it to each other. If you haven't checked out our episode recapping Castlevania Season 3, you owe it to yourself to go listen to it because it was a fun time. Okay, Mark, let's get out of the news. And that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. If you like the episode, you can share it on Facebook or Twitter. You can also follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell. And the show is at Nincart Society. And remember, on Thursday, we are talking about The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. So any observations or memories or whatever you have about that game, email us at Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. And then we can talk about them on the show. You can also check out our Facebook page, which is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by Apip Eddie. You can get more of his music by going to apipeddie.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thank you for listening.
Have you ever encountered an unexplained hairy bipedal hominid in the woods?
Have you received telepathic messages from an unidentified aerial phenomenon?
If so, then you need to listen to Bigfoot Collectors Club. I'm Michael McMillan.
And I'm Bryce Johnson.
And together with super producer
Riley Bray,
we make up the Bigfoot Collectors Club.
That's right. Every week we talk to actors, comedians, writers, and paranormal experts about their personal paranormal histories and share stories of high strangeness.
Like the time when we talked to Craig Ferguson about the Loch Ness Monster and when a sea witch told him he had raven magic.
Or the time I asked Pitch Perfect's Anna Camp her opinion on cattle mutilations. Past guests have included Rachel Bloom, Jen Kirkman, Paul F. Tompkins, Bobcat Goldthwait, and more.
So if you've ever been abducted alongside 5 reindeer by an alien with drills for hands or witnessed Bigfoot crawl out of an interdimensional portal,
don't laugh, happens all the time.
Then check out Bigfoot Collectors Club on Campfire Media or wherever you get your podcasts.
Bigfoot Collectors Club. You're here to believe us.
Wait, is that how it goes?
Campfire.